was going to O'Reilly's now, so hopping in the Gladiator. It's a different world in here. Let me just tell you that. It's definitely different here. It's just like down to the little platform base that they, rebuilt fresh from the start. So it's definitely different. If you guys can ever get to compare the two next to each other, it's crazy. The engine, the 3.6, and the JL seems a little bit more efficient too. Like even when you have the AC on and stuff, you just really can't even tell that it's on. I just got the old fenders and inner fenders in the Gladiator because we're going to meet a buddy of ours to sell him the fenders and all that for his JK. Pretty much it. That was, pretty quick. We just posted them on Facebook Marketplace and he swiped up and was like, hey, I want them. I was like, all right, cool. Because he's actually got his old carpet that we're going to pick up and put in the JK too. So we're working on a deal with that. So we're already making moves on making this stuff happen and pretty excited about it. So. Alright guys, got the carpet back here for the JK and show you guys what it looks like, but got rid of the fenders. Unlock that rear door, get that carpet out, get ready for that road trip. It's pretty clean. I just gotta get some floor mats, so that's good. Gotta get my Baja Blast out of here. I forgot about that. I meant to throw that away. It's all good. Alright guys, just took it for a drive after work. Did some exercise and stuff like that. So enjoyed it a little bit, but when I cranked it up, it started to whine, kind of like the power steering. Power steering pump or something's going out. It's kind of got that whine to it, but I don't think that's it because it's not hard to turn or nothing. So we've got a few things to figure out and work on. So we're definitely not daily driving it for a good minute. So we're just going to be, working on it over time as a project, whenever we get the chance. Alright guys, just stopped at the dealer on the way home from work and picked up some stuff for the JK. So ended up getting 2 gallons of coolant, which should be enough for the flush, and then we'll have to mix that with distilled water. But I just ended up turning on the flash. This seat is actually pretty clean. I'm gonna take all these 2 seat bolts and wire wheel those, paint them up with some VHT, get those looking good. But coming up close, you can see the carpet needs to be cleaned, but it's actually not bad at all. Honestly, for used carpet, it's not bad at all. It's coming along. It is coming along a lot better. Alright guys, I have got the fan blower motor out, and I'm gonna try to see if there's any obvious debris that's causing the clicking noise. And I turned it on with it still connected to the plug. It still makes the noise, so I think it's just coming somewhere in here. I'm gonna see if I can take this screw out and then kind of disassemble it. I would really like to put some filters in here, but this plastic piece doesn't really seem removable. I can't really get it to come out behind this bracket. I don't know. I feel like it's different on the newer JK, but I'm gonna look into that a little bit more as well too. Thought I'd do something simple just to kind of make some progress. Just working with what we got right now. But this track bar has to come out eventually at some point, and I think it's squeaking too, and that does not help. It's really kind of annoying, but this bolt is like way over torqued, so I'm having a hard time getting it out. I'm not sure what we're gonna do about that yet, but we'll figure something out eventually at some point. I'm diagnosing the wheel bearings, the ball joints, tiny bit of a minute pop separation kind of play feeling on the drag link, which it could either be that or the steering box. So definitely not surprised if it's the steering box. That's very common when they get higher miles like this. So all right, what's going on guys? Got a lot of new maintenance stuff coming. So water pumps coming next week, all that good stuff. But went by the store, today's Friday. Got some new oil, it's over there. So Mobile 1, 6 quarts of that, Mopar filter, and then also got some new brake fluid because we're about to swap out the front brake calipers and the ones that came off of Warden. So we're gonna be swapping those out, bleeding all the brakes and getting that nice and healthy because it needs that. All right guys, got my work attire on, so we're about to get started, but also got to swap out this license plate bracket because it's dusty, as you can see, but sitting on the shelf for a while. So glad I decided to keep a few JK parts. I was not expecting to have another JK again for a while, but the one that's on it right now, this light has stopped working, so need to stay legal. This is the foam mount though. I showed you guys for Smokey. It's the Mod Pro 90. Yeah, really good foam mounts. I actually ordered 3 of them because putting a couple on the Gladiator and one on the JK. We got brake fluid and then the oil change kit. So we got the high mileage 520. So that's what's gonna be going in. Get that nice and clean. This won't take long at all, so we'll do that later. Still got the engine cover from Warden. Probably gonna post that for sale unless I can make something out of it to display somewhere. That'd be kind of cool. Got a lot of Jeep parts, man. A lot of Gladiator parts. We actually had racks of JK suspension, so we got a little brake bleeder which we're about to use. But here's the front calipers, brand new pads. So, which this transmission's actually from Clay too. This 6-speed. It was just 2-wheel drive, so brake line extension brackets, just random little odds and ends there. But I also got the steering wheel from Big Sauce. That'll fit in the JK. Just don't really have a horn airbag thing for it, so. By myself right now, 1-person bleeder setup. Got the caliper swapped over with the new pads. You guys can see that right here. So I have got this tubing ran with a zip tie on that bleeder valve, with the bleeder valve opening and closing with that wrench there. Nasty fluid, so I'm probably just gonna bleed that out. This caliper's probably already good. Oh, did you see that? When I hit the caliper, it kind of put some air in the line. Some people are saying air gets trapped in the line, so bleeded a few more times. I gotta make sure that there's no air in that line, because that happened on Warden when we did the big brake install. We did new calipers and everything, and brakes kind of felt a little soft for a while until we bled them again. So it was supposed to have been changed recently, but it really doesn't look like it. It looks like it hadn't been changed in about 36 years. Some of the lug nuts were actually like way too tight, and some of them were like actually loose. So when we put those back on, we made sure to torque those. Also let tire pressure out of all the tires too, especially stuff like this. But like the cold air intake, because it gives it a kind of whistle whenever you give it gas. But there's the water pump. So we gotta take off these 3 bolts and then take out these 7 bolts right here. Clean up that surface. Got some ultra gray for that. New gasket. What's up guys, this is a blown alternator. So you can see that black spot where it got smoked up and burnt out, but basically the symptoms of this was that whining noise. When we crank it up, it randomly started that like a day or 2 after we bought the Jeep. Acted like it had a dead battery, but then it cranked up normally after that. And we were riding down the road and we got the battery light on the dash, so that kind of started leading me to believe that it could be the alternator. And driving for a little bit longer, it started smelling like smoke. Definitely gonna clean out the throttle body. We have checked the oil level, and it's actually staying pretty much up there with 6 quarts, which is really good because, you know, 3.8s normally typically burn about a quart of oil between oil changes. So definitely good to see that. I took a break last night and decided to rest for the evening, so I'm about to go to O'Reilly's right now and just called and make sure they had spark plug wires. Something I noticed looking here, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right guys, got the air filter soaking in some cleaner right now because we're gonna rinse it off and let it dry out. So that air filter, after cleaning that out, looks a ton better, guys. Haven't put it back in yet, but you can see that true red color now. It's all clean, nice and dry. Yeah, I'd say those are pretty considerably wore out. So you can see the gap on this one is just a lot more compared to that one. And the top, I don't really know what that's called, but that arc piece looks really, really thin and wore out compared to this one. So the majority of them, there is just no life left on these plugs. So you guys can just kind of see how worn out they were. So this is the last spark plug. I'm just gonna do it and hopefully knock it out. So taking a break in between going to the store is definitely gonna help kind of refocus here. So I'm gonna put this last spark plug in, so that way I know all 6 plugs are done and fresh, ready to go. Kind of got to get a feel for it. So as you can see, it's just a tight space on this side. So I've got the plug wires laid out. I'm just going to go ahead and pull off the first one, which doesn't mean that it's the first cylinder. I'm pretty sure this is cylinder number 2. Had its days. It actually ripped, and part of it broke off, but what breaks in these is the metal attachment that goes onto the actual spark plug head inside of here. All right, so I got the new one duct tape to cylinder number 5, which is going to be the last one over here. So I've got it duct taped the ends together, so you can see over here and on the other side. I should just, in theory, be able to pull it through, you know, where it's ran, pop that puppy right back on its bracket, put the belt back on, and we should be good to go. I gotta bleed some more coolant because it keeps taking coolant, like it's not leaking or anything. Time to wash the engine bay, guys. So after all this maintenance that we've been doing, as you can tell, just the air filter itself, you know, is red again, so that's nice. But we gotta cover that up. Other important areas, you know, we're gonna try to keep water away from like the oil fill cap and stuff like that. Soak everything, including the hood, with degreaser and scrub really well. So, you know, once we do that and rinse it off, it's gonna take off, you know, most of that grime that you're seeing. Thankfully, there's not a whole lot of like mud staining. There is a little bit, but like the engine and the headers too, like those are so clean. So it's just a lot of like build up over the years, especially in these hoses and stuff and these lines. Yeah, guys, just really excited to get this cleaned and freshened up because it's gonna feel a lot better. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go crank up the engine and bleed some more coolant. Show you guys what we're looking at here. A lot cleaner. Back of the hood looking mint condition. All right, so got a little bit of coolant. Engine sounds nice and smooth. There's no jumping, there's no misfiring, there's no weird noises, there's no whining. It sounds so much better, guys. So happy with how this engine is sounding with this many miles. Nice and quiet and sound. Just down to the details here. You know, really got into all the hard lines for the brakes. You know, the brake booster, master cylinder, all that stuff. Got all that nice and clean. Got the fancy little 3.8 cover cleaned up, nice and fresh. Got the radiator hoses all scrubbed away and clean. Got the back of that battery box tray and fuse box tray all clean. All right, guys, just kind of a chill evening. The blower motor fan came in the mail actually, and so did the water pump, but we're not really going to do the water pump just yet just because it's not really too urgent. The vlog that we made of buying the Jeep, so when we were test driving it you could hear it clicking in the background, but it's worn out. We tried to put a socket right here, hammer it down to kind of tighten up that bearing or whatever's in there. We tried squirting WD-40 in that bottom pinhole right there. Pretty much tried everything we could, and if you take out this screw right here, it doesn't do anything. It's like all one sealed plastic unit, so we pretty much just kind of gave up on it just because the brand new one's only $30 and it looks pretty much identical, so it should be good. But it's not really going to leave us stranded on the side of the road, so you know, usually parts like that we always go to the dealer for OEM. So but little stuff like this, you know, not a big deal. That'll definitely be good, guys, and you know, I'll bet you here in a little bit once we do something else to it.